Hi and welcome back. So if you're new here, my name is Joe from First World Crusader, and today's video is going to be about AR-15 upgrades and accessories and talk about all the stuff I added to my rifle. Now, I'm not going to go too much into the why I added all this stuff. If you want to check out my video on my AR-15 rifle setup, go ahead and click on the icon up above. You could go ahead and check that video out. This one's going to be going over all the specific parts and more detailed on everything I added to my AR-15 rifle. If you're curious about what parts I added, or if you want to check out the prices, you could go ahead and check out the links and the main article, which is going to be posted in the description down below. Prices are always changing, so you could check those out to make sure you get the up-to-date prices if you want to go ahead and order some of these parts. And also, before we get started, if you're new here, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Also, hit that like button if you think it's a good video, and if you do subscribe, make sure you click on the bell notification. That way you'll get notified every time I upload a video. And one more thing, if you want to reach out to me, the best way to get in touch is through Instagram. I'll go ahead and link my Instagram page. I'll have it pop up right now. Send me a DM. I try to respond to all of them, and that is the best way to get in contact with me. All right, so let's get into it. So AR-15, all the upgrades and accessories I added. And what this rifle is, this is actually an FN-15. And when I started out with it, it was kind of like a M4 carbine A2 model. It had the carry handle. It had a fixed front post sight. It had the real fat handguards on it. Had an A2 grip on it. Not a bad rifle. And I liked it. That's why I got it. And I knew I wanted to kind of change out everything. I wouldn't necessarily say I did a build, but maybe an assembly. I swapped out a lot of parts. Really didn't do any gunsmithing. There's one thing I'm going to talk about when I took my barrel off that I would recommend, something you might want to do, but I'll get into that shortly. But yeah, that's what this video is going to be about. A lot of stuff to cover, so I'm going to go fairly quick, try to keep it a shorter video. And yeah, so starting out, I had a base level gun. I'll go ahead and throw a picture up of that. So I knew I didn't need a upper or a lower. If you are starting from scratch, I do recommend Aero Precision, the M4E1 upper and lower. But if you already have an AR-15, I wouldn't worry about swapping those out first. There's a lot of other stuff where you should invest your money into the rifle, in my opinion. So this is what I was starting out with, an FN upper and lower. I like FN. They hold a lot of military contracts. They're a good company. So that's where I'm starting out with. And now my barrel. So I want to get a new barrel for this. I haven't added it yet because they're currently all sold out. For the one I want, I did a lot of research on barrels, trying to figure out what is best for me and my use of the rifle. Also, that's one thing that's going to dictate what parts you put, is your philosophy of use and what you're going to use this for. For me, this is kind of like my go-to rifle for home defense, civil unrest, anything like that. Short to medium range engagements. That's why I have a red dot and not a scope or an LPVO. And that's kind of my idea of why I set this rifle up this way. It also depends on your environment. If you live in an urban area, if you live out in the country, you might have different needs. So everything is going to be tailored to your own specific needs, and everyone's going to have something different. For me, this is perfect for me. So the barrel, I just have the standard 16-inch barrel that came with the gun. It is a M4 profile barrel. It's a carbine length. It's a 1-in-7 twist. Believe it is chrome lined. It's not a bad barrel. I do want to swap this out, however. I want to get a mid-length. I'm a big fan of mid-length gas systems. The M4 profile barrel with the little notch might be kind of hard to see here. Let me try to go ahead and move that up a little bit. That M4 notch, or the grenade launcher attachment notch, that is kind of an outdated thing. No one uses that anymore. Civilians definitely don't use that. And there are a lot of different better barrel profiles available. The one I like is Faxon Firearms. Their match barrel. It's a gunner profile, so it's kind of a hybrid between a pencil barrel and a medium barrel. Definitely don't get a heavy barrel for a fighting rifle. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think you're gonna need that. So a light barrels, a lot of people don't like light or pencil barrels because of how fast they heat up. And with any rifle, unless it's a full auto, I don't think as a civilian you're going to be shooting that many rounds in that short of a period of time to destroy the barrel. There's a bunch of videos on YouTube where people overheating barrels, and it takes lots and lots of rounds very quickly, and it's not very practical to do that, especially in a self-defense, home defense situation. That is probably not going to happen. And also pencil barrels have come a long way. I like nitrided barrels. Chrome lined used to be what everyone thinks you'd have to get, but after doing a bunch of research with the ammunition we use today, I don't think it's necessary to have a chrome lined barrel, and nitrided barrels I think are the way to go. So that is something that I still want to change as soon as the Faxon firearms match gunner barrels what I want to get. I want to get it in a mid-length gas system, 16-inch barrel. As soon as they have some more, I'm going to order one, but they're currently out of stock. So I have that there. I have a low-profile gas block. And again, this is carbine length. Carbine length, if you're not familiar with that, it's a shorter gas system, so the rifle does run a little bit over-gassed, which is nice for reliability. It does put a little more stress on the internal parts, and it has slightly more recoil. But this is what the military goes for because they favor reliability above all else. And definitely I don't like rifle gas length system, but I do want to swap this out for a mid-length gas system. It's a little bit softer shooting. And I also tailored this rifle to try to make it a flat, soft shooting AR-15. I know the 5.56 caliber doesn't have that much recoil to begin with, but if I could tame that even more and get the most performance out of this platform, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So that's what I did for a barrel. Gas block, low profile gas block, and a bolt carrier. Right now, I still have the standard bolt carrier that came with it. Let me go ahead and drop the magazine here. So yeah, it's just the standard bolt carrier that came with the rifle. I do want to swap this out for an M16 full auto style bolt carrier. That's what this platform was designed to run on. I don't like, after doing a bunch of research, I don't like how companies will try to lighten the bolt carrier group. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how this rifle was intended to run. So, oops. So that's another part I want to get. However, it is out of stock, and that's something I will be getting. Chrome lined, a chrome lined bolt carrier or a chrome lined coating on a bolt carrier group is something I would like, or nitride, or there's a lot of other nice coatings, but the main thing I want to get is a M16 style full auto bolt carrier group. So that's something else I'll be adding as soon as they come back in stock. Right now, a lot of gun parts are sold out, so also I piece this together as I go. I didn't buy all this stuff at once. As soon as I got a part, I added it. All right, one thing I want to talk about is trigger. So in this rifle, I have the Geissele ssa-e. It's the super semi-auto enhanced trigger from Geissele, and if you've been following this channel a while, I'm a huge fan of Geissele. I think they make really good stuff, and this is probably one of the best upgrades you could do that you will notice the most is this trigger. Now, it doesn't have to be Geissele. There's a lot of other good triggers out there, but this thing is awesome. It's a great trigger. It was easy to install. And originally, I had some K&S anti-rotation trigger pins. And after posting a picture on this Facebook group and everyone roasted me, I did a little more research and I found out that the original design of the M16 rifle does not require anti-rotation trigger pins. You actually want them to rotate. Depends on the spec of your lower and the tolerances. So this being an FN, having a nice trigger group, went ahead and removed those anti-rotation trigger pins. So that's something I learned. I also read from a guy, School of American Rifle. I read a blog post he did and he explained it in much detail. So if you could find that, check it out. It explains it better than I do. And he also has a YouTube channel. He makes good videos, and I respect his opinion. He has a lot of work on this platform, and that was something I learned. So I went ahead and removed those, but this trigger is awesome. Geissele trigger. Also, I added the Midwest Industries Free Float handrail. This is an M-LOK handrail, and it is actually, what is it, the Combat, the G3M series handguards. It's a 15-inch handguard free float, has spots you could put any kind of M-lock attachments. I have my Surefire up here on the Haley Thorntail 2, I think it is, inline mount. Also, Arisaka Defense makes the same exact mount. Depending on when I ordered this, I couldn't find the Arisaka, was out of stock. I got the Haley. Now, the Haley's out of stock and the Arisaka's in stock. So they're both the same. They're both about the same price. They're both really good. So I have my light mounted on the Midwest Industries handguard. Going over to I have the tape switch pressure pad. I could do constant on right here or momentary on, which is nice. So let me go ahead and show this now. So this is the Cloud Defensive LCS mount, and it is awesome. So I really like this. It's M-lock. I like where I can mount it on this Midwest Industries handguard. It's perfect for me. I use this as an indexing point, and my thumb lines up right there. It's perfect. It's out of the way. It has channels. It's kind of hard to see, but it does have channels where you could route this tape switch through, so there's no excess wire, anything to snag on. You don't have to wrap electrical tape. You don't have to do zip ties. It just keeps it real sleek and streamlined. And look how close, if you could see, that light is to the rail. I mean, you can maybe fit a piece of paper through there, but it is super close, almost close to the bore as possible, out of the way. And it's a real clean setup, and I'm real happy with it. So continuing on with the rail, I have the Magpul, the Magpul MVG vertical foregrip. It's nice, it's really small, and I don't hold it like this. I kind of angle my hand. I kind of use it as an angled foregrip and as an indexing point when I go ahead and shoulder my rifle and use my non-shooting hand to grab up by the handrail. But it's M-lock compatible. It's relatively inexpensive, and it gets the job done. It's an OD green. I like that color. It works really great. It's a good upgrade for your AR-15. So there's that. Also, let's talk about muzzle brake real quick. I know I'm kind of jumping around all over the place. So muzzle brake right here, I have the Titan Comp SJC muzzle brake, and this thing is awesome. Now, people say, hey, you don't need a muzzle brake on an AR-15. If you shoot it indoors, it's going to be horribly loud. It doesn't kick that much. I understand all that. But my idea on a home defense rifle, I want to maximize all the benefits of this rifle. If it has low recoil, I want to see what I can do to make the recoil even less. I want to maximize all the abilities of this rifle I possibly can. Now, as far as the concussion blast you get out of this, to stop the barrel from rising, it redirects the gases to the side. They say if you shoot this indoors, it's going to be super loud. You're going to lose your hearing. If you're shooting next to a buddy, it's going to be torture for him because of the concussion blast. Well, I really don't care about all that stuff, to be honest. I don't think I'm going to be using this alongside somebody. If I'm using this rifle, it's probably going to be me by myself against an enemy or an adversary. Hopefully that never happens, but that's kind of my train of thought. And I want something that gives me the best advantage possible. Also, if this is very loud, I want this as loud and as terrifying as possible for whoever's on the other end of that as well. That's why people say with lumens and flashlights, they say, oh, don't get something too bright. It will wash out your own eyes. I want whoever's on the other end of my light and on the other end of my muzzle to get blinded and to be scared shitless. So that's kind of why I have this set up like that. Awesome muzzle brake. I had to do a shim kit in order for it to line up properly on my muzzle threads. But that was something real easy. And I used my AR-15 Armor's wrench to pretty much do just about everything on here. One thing I forgot to mention with the barrel, now that I'm back over here, is once I changed out the handguards, I was able to remove the barrel, and I did go ahead and lap the receiver. Now, I'll see a lot of videos of people lapping. I ordered the lapping tool from Brownells, and I've seen a lot of people, I watched a few videos, and they had it hooked up to a power drill, and I didn't like this, so what I did is I had it vertical almost. I had my receiver vertical, my upper receiver, and I used gravity and twisted it by hand, probably for about 10 minutes, and I kept checking. I just wanted to make sure it was a flat plane and the two mating surfaces with the barrel and the upper receiver were as flat as possible. doing a little bit of research. If you have the barrel off, you might as well do it. It's going to help with accuracy. So that's something I did, something to mention real quick when you have your gun apart. It's a good time to do all that stuff. Let's go talk about buffer and buffer spring. So I have the Geissele Super 42 braided wire buffer, and I have the H2 buffer in it. Because of my barrel length and my gas system, if you go on Geissele's website, they have a chart which really explains what kind of buffer you should get. But the braided wire, the Super Geissele 42 braided wire buffer is three springs wrapped around each other instead of one. It eliminates that twang. They say it is softer shooting, but I really can't tell. This rifle altogether shoots amazing. It's super soft shooting. But something like this isn't a huge upgrade, but it is a nice little thing to add to kind of complete the overall build. So I do recommend that. I like everything by Geissele. If you watch any of their videos, the owner is super knowledgeable. He goes into great detail, explains everything better than I can. So go ahead and check that out too if you're interested in getting that. All these parts are expensive too. And like I said earlier, you could check my article, and I have everything linked out if you want to check the current up-to-date prices. And a lot of this stuff might be sold out right now, but it's always good to check. Hopefully that gets better soon. But yeah, so I got that buffer in there. Let me go ahead and show that actually. Yeah, so there it is. It's the H2 buffer, and you could also change out your tungsten weights in here too to kind of tune it for what you need. And this spring is awesome. It's supposed to reduce how much you lose over time. That's what the Geissele trigger looks like on the inside there. So didn't put an ambi safety on. I'm a right-handed shooter, and I personally don't like ambidextrous safeties. I always find they dig into my trigger finger too, and I've never really used it as left-handed. If ever I had a transition to my left side, I just index my trigger finger and leave it on fire. You could go ahead and roast me in the comments for that, but that's what I do. Maybe I'll add it in the future. I don't know. I really like the Troy Industries Safety Selector. I really like that one. All right, let's go ahead and move up to charging handle really quick. This is the Raptor charging handle by Radiant Arms. It's awesome. It's a flat dark earth one. I was looking at the Geissele. They're about the same price. I just like this one a little bit better. But that's also a nice little upgrade you could do for your AR-15. Iron sights, let me talk about that real quick. I have the Magpul MBUS Pros. These are awesome. They're metal. They're lightweight. Some people now with optics getting extremely better and more reliable, they're kind of getting away from having your backup iron sights. Me, I guess, I don't know. I still like having them. I had the rail space, so I figured why not. Also, they're pretty lightweight. They're pretty small. They're nice to have just in case. For my optic, I have the Trijicon MRO. I really like this optic a lot. It's fairly priced. I like the little bit wider field of view you get compared to the Aimpoint. It's a little bit cheaper, and I really like Trijicon. Battery life is great. It's lightweight. It has a crisp dot for me, and yeah, that's the optic I went with. They're awesome. There's a bunch of reviews on it, and it's pretty low profile. And for as far as how I have it mounted here, again, another Geissele product, the Super Precision MRO mount. It is awesome. I really like it a lot, and it's just rock solid. Real happy with that mount. I thought about getting the cover, the lens caps, and I really didn't see any I liked. Trijicon makes one. There's one other company that makes one. Watched a couple of reviews, and I really wasn't too impressed. So maybe a company will come out with something else, or I'll see if I could find any other to get lens caps, just in case it's raining or something like that. Keep your lens clear. And let's see, what else we got on this rifle? Bolt catch, extended bolt catch. So this is the Geissele Maritime bolt catch. Real easy install, tapped out one pin, and it gives you more purchase to lock the bolt back and release it compared to the little ping pong paddle. Magpul furniture, Got the Magpul K2 Plus grip. I love this thing. Put it on all my rifles. Very comfortable. It's skinny. Has the palm swell right where I want it. The A2 has that little nub right here that I don't like. Digs into my middle finger. This has the slightest bit of rubber grippiness texture to it, which is perfect. Magpul SL stock. So this thing's real slimline. It's great if you're wearing a plate carrier, body armor. And originally I wanted the SLS, which is a little bit upgraded version of this. It's a little bit wider, a little more comfortable, but they didn't have any in stock. But I'm having another rifle I'm going to start changing out parts on. I'll probably get it for that one. Hopefully they're back in stock by then. And let's see what else we got. Sling. So I have the Faro Concept Sling Spare. Ordered this from SKD Tactical. I got it in the black multicam. It's a 2-point sling. I have QD mounts. The Midwest Industries rails has 3 in front and 2 in back here. And I have it back on the stock. I'm thinking about adding one right here. Have another one right here. I don't know yet. I might do that. We'll see about that. But yeah, that's pretty much all the upgrades I did to my rifle. Yeah, this is how I set it up for my personal use. Everyone's going to be different, but I kind of feel like the concept, it doesn't have to be these exact parts, but the concept of this rifle, a weapon light, pressure pad, a nice red dot optic, backup sights, the trigger's huge. This guy's a trigger, man. If you guys never shot one of these, check it out. They're awesome. I was super impressed with this. There's also the ssa, and then there's the ssa-e. I went with the enhanced, but yeah, it's amazing. So that's one of my favorite upgrades. Of course, I love having the weapon light. Love having that. The optic, everything. Everything works great and complements how I want the rifle set up. If I'm running this with my plate carrier, it doesn't snag anything. This whole side is pretty clean. Have nothing sticking out. I don't need an optic where I'm at. If I want to do a setup like that, which I'm thinking about, I'm going to do a LPVO setup. I have a Smith & Wesson M&P 15. I think I'm going to completely gut and build back up for more of a mid to long range AR-15, where this is kind of my close to mid range. It's my fighting rifle. It's my go-to rifle. This thing is awesome. Yeah, I have no complaints about any of the parts I put on there. For the rail, I almost did get the Geisley rail, but the Midwest Industries was a little bit cheaper and a little bit lighter. And again, they had these in stock. There's a few different parts that I could swap out for other parts. I would be happy with either of them, but it was what was in stock when I had the money and I was ready to purchase stuff. But yeah, so that is my rifle, my AR-15 upgrades and accessories. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you noticed something I didn't, maybe I could add, or something that's unnecessary. I love hearing feedback from people. That's why with that Facebook group and with those trigger pins, I was like, I seen a video where a guy said, yeah, they're a good idea, and he explained it, and I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I had them, and so I put them on there, and then when I posted that picture in that Facebook group, I was getting roasted. And after doing a little more digging, a lot of people in that group sent me some articles, and it made way more sense to me that I don't need them. It's kind of one of those gimmicky things. That's a lot of things with companies too, making parts for AR-15s. Oh, I have an empty spot. Let me add a little doodad, whatever. Let me add this gimmicky part. Let me do this. And that's real easy to fall into with these rifles, because it's fun to add parts and do stuff like that. But always make sure whatever part you add serves a purpose. Keep it simple. And I would say don't buy junk either. If you buy a cheap optic, it's going to break soon. It's not going to hold zero. Even a cheap mount, spend a little bit of extra money and get good quality stuff, especially if you rely on this to defend yourself, your family, your property, whatever the case may be. Just invest in your own safety and well-being. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Hope you guys liked it. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.